Fast forward, any combo our channel is so AGH Politics Avenue. Podcast or set trend with big headlines. Na jembre na idi exomo ewa ni dem dia black simus and the idi kanyam. Be sure so to subscribe to the channel, but when you so with my notification bell so share na afofront so enter into me can be Hon.Mintah Akandoh, our health minister, eku PM parliament onia na utimi emeki some expose bia igina so na iribi exom wo ye health sector ho no o check say omobeto arrears pa enya semkoto a onua health insurance na hwe eka gu ho pa ye de so wa okom ebedai ebebu na ene nyame chade omu atimi eyi ni nyina afri ho a eka biye ni ho a ene na arrears biye ni ho a ewo ho Yambo in the floor of parliament, abra, MPs, it mean, and so they almost supplementary questions, a P, AGH Politics Avenue, Yambo Ingram.
1.1 in 2021, 963 in 2022, and 2.2 in 2023. This shows a decline in payment up to 2022, before a significant rebound in 2023. Mr. Speaker, I have given a table that speaks for itself. And so, for example, Mr. Speaker, we have the year, claims expenditure, claims paid, portion of the payment relating to that year, and portions of payment relating to previous years. So the honourable member may follow it carefully. So, Mr. Speaker, in 2020, whilst the claim expenditure was 1 billion in 2020, the Speaker, about 1.3 billion was paid. But, Mr. Speaker, only 473 million was respect to 2020. The rest were arrears. I hope Mr. Speaker is following. Good. Mr. Speaker, so we'll move to 2021. Mr. Speaker, when you go to 2021, whilst the claims expenditure is about 1.1 billion, claims paid is also 1.1 billion, but Mr. Speaker, claims relating to 2021 that was paid was 469 million. What does it mean? It means we're piling up arrears. Mr. Speaker, in 2022, the claims payment was 1.6 billion. Amount paid was 963. Out of the 963 that was paid, only 328 million was with respect to 2022. What it means was that we were piling arrears. Mr. Speaker, again, when we came to 2023, it was 1.8, and then 2.2 was paid, and the proportion with respect to 2023 was 1.1, whilst the rest was the arrears. So, Mr. Speaker, over the years, we've been piling up arrears. And this is what we are doing differently. Mr. Speaker, now the narrative is different. We are no more piling arrears. We are paying on time. We are paying promptly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any supplementary?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for the analysis. While you attempted to attribute the non-payment or the arrears, you failed to recognize the fact that in 2020, the claims expenditure was 1 billion, and amount paid is 1.3 billion, which recognizes the fact that there were prior year there were arrears. No doubt about that. 2021, 1.1 billion, and claims paid 1.1. So I just want you to, or I want the House to recognize the fact that in 2020,
Honourable Member, you are violating Order 88.7A.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question is, Honourable Minister, in 2025, can you tell this House, I understand, please, in 2025, can you tell this House that the payment that was made in respect of claims by the National Health Insurance Authority did not include
Question
arrears?
overruled. Yes.
A while ago, you referenced 88.7A, and you admonished the member. But, yes, the interpretation of the rules is in your bosom. But where the minister has provided answers, and the member is making a follow-up based on the answers given by the minister, would that constitute
Tell
the
me
member
which
addressing?
part of the minister's answer that indicated he has failed to do ABCD.
Well, but
And you've heard that directly from the member.
yes,
Is that from the answer?
Speaker, in this house, you guide us. But
Yes.
I'm saying, but not
So I listened carefully to the member, the tangent that he was going before overruling him.
Yes, Speaker. So would you kindly grant him the opportunity to reframe his question there?
But if he has the opportunity to reframe, he would have done that.
Yes,
He
yeah.
asked another supplementary question,
There are instances.
which I again overruled because the question is talking about a particular year up to 2023, but his question is on 2025.
I was trying to guide my colleague, just signaling him what he should do so that he can live within the provisions of Order 88.7A. I implore you, Speaker, with respect, to grant him the opportunity to reframe his follow-up.
Yes,
Yes.
you can, if you want to reframe within the ambit of the question, I have no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister, with reference to the table, can you tell this House the best practice in terms of claims payment, whether or not every claim is paid within the month it's submitted, or there'll be lapses in terms of months before they are paid?
Members, let's take a look at the question. To ask the Minister for Health to provide the claim amount for the year 2020 to 2023 and the types of claims for the respective years of the National Health Insurance Scheme. This was the question. So the Minister has provided you with the details, and you are asking for monthly. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the guidance. But Minister, in answering the question, brought the element of arrears in his answer. So I just want to know from him, with international practice, is there the case that all claims are paid in the month they are submitted, or not that? So that we'll know, because you mentioned arrears. So I think that's a valid question.
Well, I do not see the main question talking about the manner of payment. You are to provide the claim that has been paid within the period. Yes, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, I do.
Please.
If you are so, Mr. Speaker, the minister in his response in page 43 states, and I quote, "In 2025, claims processing and payment accelerated to the point that payments were made faster than the 3-month window stipulated under the NHIS Act. In the same year, a total of 2,688 million was paid to service providers, in addition to the transfer of 1.5 billion to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund." Mr. Speaker, my question is, what were the total arrears as of 2020, accumulated, or payment claims accumulated in 2025, of which 2 billion was paid? I want to know the claims that were accumulated for that year, of which...
Question overruled.
Mr. Speaker.
The question is between the period 2020 and 2025. Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, with respect, the question demanded answers for claim payment between 2020 and 2023. Mr. Speaker, I'm fortified by the rules that requires of me to ask supplementary question based on the answer given by the minister. Mr. Speaker, I therefore proceed to ask.
There is a proviso,
Which is, Mr. Speaker,
that people normally forget. If you have the rules book, you can take the entire House to Standing Order 89.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Which is on.
Mr. Speaker, we are,
Yes.
I'm happy to
There is
do
a
that.
proviso. But
Mr. Speaker,
there is but.
Mr. Speaker, please, you've given a guide. Let me read it aloud. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 89. It is supplementary question. Supplementary question. That is the title of that. 8.1, quote, as soon as a question is answered, any member, beginning with the member who asked the question, may, without notice, ask a supplementary question for further clarification of any matter of fact on the answer, but a supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question.
Yes.
Right.
So that is why I'm drawing your attention
Mr.
to the
Speaker,
fact
worry
that
not. I think
there is a
Mr. Speaker, worry not.
proviso.
Mr.
Yes.
Speaker,
Yes.
to the extent that the supplementary question is squarely within the ambit of the answer provided. Mr. Speaker, with respect, I cannot ask a supplementary question outside of the answer. So, Mr. Speaker, if a question is asked for 2020 to 2023, and the minister in his own answer decides to go outside of the 2020-2023 to now give further information, Mr. Speaker, any supplementary question anchored in that will be well placed within 89. Mr. Speaker, well, you are setting the rules.
If you read further, I'm not setting the rules.
Mr. Speaker, that is what it means. If
you
want
read
to rule,
further,
yes,
you're saying that but a supplementary question must not introduce.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, please allow.
That's why
Mr.
in
Speaker,
interpretation you read
Mr.
the provision as a whole.
Mr. Speaker, you are presiding. Can you put the question? Let me answer you. Mr. Speaker, indeed, you read the provision as a whole. You cannot be disjointed. But, Mr. Speaker, we will also be creating problems if we say that the supplementary question, which would ordinarily depend on what answer the minister has given, there cannot be any supplementary question unless there's an answer. Mr. Speaker, if the minister introduces a matter of fact in his answer, there must be an interrogation there too. Mr. Speaker, a member of parliament cannot be restrained merely because the supplementary question may appear to introduce a new matter. Mr. Speaker, then we cannot have a supplementary question in this chamber.
Well,
by the way, let me ask my supplementary question.
The rule is to guide all of us. You are introducing an issue of interpretation.
So
let me hear Majority Leader before you come and ask your supplementary. Yes.
Well,
yeah, Mr. Speaker, I am tempted to side with the Minority Leader's view of the provisions of the relevant standing order. If a member should ask the Minister for Health, can you tell me the cause of malaria? And the Minister, in answering the question, says, the cause of malaria is XYZ. It is similar to the cause of diabetes. It is similar to the cause of, heart attack. It's similar to the cause of etc. The Minister has veered off from the specific question, but in answering has provided new facts and issues. And so any member can then follow up and ask you, you spoke about malaria. You spoke about diabetes. So I have a follow-up question on that. Whatever you stand here and say, once you introduce a new fact, a member becomes entitled to ask you for further clarification regarding the fact that you yourself you have introduced. That's why ministers must be careful in answering questions and focus on the specifics of the question and not veer off, because once you veer off, you open yourself up to a lot of follow-up questions. You may provide the answer for the main question, but then you leave room to be taken on other matters that you ought not to have spoken about. And so, Mr. Speaker, I do agree that if the Minister answered questions and added new facts, yes.
I beg to differ in the sense that the rules are clear and guide questions and supplementary questions. But there is no rule that guides the ministers the kind of answers that they should give. That is why this particular rule is saying that as soon as a question is answered, any member beginning with the member who asks the question may, without notice, ask supplementary question for further clarification of any matter of fact on the answer, but a supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question. So, therefore, though the minister is not guided as to how to provide an answer to the question, this but is guiding you to ask the supplementary question within the question. So the meaning that I gathered from the use of but here is admonishing you that but a supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question. So the understanding here is that the fact that the minister deviated does not mean you can ask a question on cholera and be asking a supplementary question on diabetes.
Mr. Speaker, you see, it says, as soon as a question is answered, any member beginning with the member who asked the question may, without notice, ask a supplementary question for further clarification of any matter of fact on the answer.
Yes.
Any matter of fact on the answer. But not the question.
No.
Not the question.
But.
Yes.
But.
So, yes, I agree with you.
A supplementary question.
But a supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question. Not included in original question. Not the answer. Not the answer. Not included in original question.
But the minister can give facts. But you, the question should not introduce. So you don't have that right.
See, not the answer.
But you don't have that right. That's what it says.
But a supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question.
But Mr. Speaker,
that's why we need to interpret the provision as a whole. That's why we need to take cognizance of the fact that ministers are not guided on the kind of answer that they should bring. But the rules provide a guide on asking a supplementary question.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Except to say that it appears to me that the rule makes provision for two issues to be dealt with.
No.
One, if you provide an answer outside the framework of the question, you open yourself up.
No.
You open yourself up.
What the rule is saying.
You open yourself up, but then also, but then also, if
we ayan sama horo tim ko so channel so mame ena wa so jemre awara sene so bade no e dia dumbi edom yene onia e besan ba wrem na yasomo e kwanstron go so